Hello folks and fans, and welcome to a short edition of Now We're Piping with Dr. Rockwood. Some of you may have noticed in my previous video that behind me was these shelves, and I just wanted to walk you through it and kind of show off my little project that I had accomplished recently. It's nothing spectacular, but I wanted to create some shelving for this part of my front room, the library or the smoking room or whatever. I wanted to build some shelves to house all of my pipes and my tobaccos and my pipe stuff. But the problem, and you'll forgive the violin bow because I don't have a pointer, is this angled wall right here. So I decided to learn how to build shelves. This is actually a first attempt. You might notice that there's some additional holes in some of the 1x3s. That's because I had started building it one way and then realized there would be a much better way to do it, so I had to dismantle it and I reused the wood. But this is what I came up with. So I went and I got the wood and I designed this and I put it together with the guidance of a good friend of mine who is a framer and works in construction. So first thing he suggested was that I square off my four corners to help them be a little bit more load bearing, which I did. And then from there, I took measurements from this side all the way to the wall for all three levels. And I basically cut pieces accordingly. The only pieces that don't go all the way to the wall are the end pieces here, just so that they can rest on the cornered posts. But basically this is what I came up with, because I don't know if you remember in an older video from, I think it was last summer or no, 2 summers ago or something like that, I was showing you what I had so far in terms of pipes and tobaccos, and it was behind me on the bookshelf and it was taking up a lot of real estate. I got more books and I have a couple records and I wanted a spot for my turntable and all that, so I built these and I think it worked out pretty well. So I guess I'll start with the pipes. This shelf, or this portion, is entirely dedicated to my pipes. I've got a circular 8-rack holder here. This is a new addition from, I think, last Christmas from Mrs. Rockwood, and that holds all of my Petersons. And I've only got 7 of them, but there is an empty spot at the back. I don't know if you can see, for an 8th. I also want to try my hand at building some pipe racks to kind of pepper throughout the rest of the shelf, because I do have some, I don't want to call them throwaway pipes, but what I referred to them in the past as were cottage pipes. So there's a Dr. Grable here and then 2 basket pipes right next to it. These are the ones that I'll clench as I'm out walking the dog in the woods, or if it falls in the lake, I'm not too bothered about it. So I'd like to build a shelf or a little pipe rack for that. To the immediate right of it, in this little box here, is what used to be my cellar, and that was kind of hidden away under the bookshelves, on a little shelf. And it's kind of nice to be able to look at it now, because a lot of the times I rarely dig into my cellar. All this stuff is made for posterity and aging, and I've got triples and quadruples of, you could see, full Virginia flake, squadron leader, got some university flake in the back. This is all stuff that I'm aging, and I kind of forgot what I had for the most part, so I'm really glad that I can see that now. And this area here, the rest of it is just dedicated to various filters, caps, folding pipe stands, and things like that. I'll go to the top now. The top is sort of like a catch-all area. I've got some antique tins. I've got the Granger there. I've got some Copenhagen. I've got some Aaron Moore. I've got a old Holborn cigarette tobacco tin. And I've also got my stack of round tins, basically. Not, you know what I mean by round tins, like the thicker, stubbier tins, like the Maltese Falcon and the Chelsea Morning and the Meridians and things like that, as opposed to the metallic flat tins. For the sole reason that I don't know, again, if you remember in my previous video, I had taken all of my old tins and then stuck them up against the wall behind the pipe rack. I didn't want to lose that, but I threw away the bottoms and I kept the tins. And then I toyed with the idea of sticking them along the 4 posts, but they're not quite to size and it doesn't look great if I were to do that. So I figured I'll hold on to them, and then when I have time or if I'm inspired or something, maybe I'll affix them to the wall or to this angled wall. We'll see. Long story short, I didn't want to get rid of these tins, so I just kind of stacked them, and I think they look okay. And yes, in case you're wondering, I do support West Ham United. Come on, you Irons. So yeah, that's the top shelf is mostly for, you know, my lighters, some tampers, a couple ashtrays. Here's a pipe ashtray. That's a cigar ashtray. I've got my Peterson pouch right here for my little travel pouch. So that's what the top shelf is for. Lastly, the bottom shelf. I realized that I had way more, way more tobaccos than I thought I did, because it was quite difficult to see them all when they were all shoved into a corner of the bookcase. So now they're, if you can call it, neatly organized, and they're much easier to spot. So when I'm in the mood for an English, I know automatically to look here. These 2 columns, those are my English blends. This here, these are my Virginias and Virginia Periques. These 2 in the back are my Burleys. I'm not a huge Burley guy, but I have Peterson Irish Flake and Peterson's University Flake, which I do love. This row right here, these are my aromatics. Again, I don't reach for them that often, but when I do, these are the ones that I enjoy. First and foremost of being MacBaron's Original Choice. And then this last row right here are my codger blends. I've got some Carter Hall, I've got some Half and Half, and MacBaron's Scottish Mixture. I don't know if you would consider that a codger blend, but you get 100 grams for the price of 50. So I'm guessing that it is readily available. It is something that a lot of people, at least in Europe, smoke just frequently, in the manner of a codger. So that's why I included it in there. And it makes it much easier for me too, to just, instead of having to read the tops of every single tin just to find what I want to smoke, I could say, okay, I'm in the mood for an English, bang, right there. That's where they are. Or I'm in the mood for a Virginia or a Virginia Perique, they're right there in the middle. So it kind of makes things a bit easier for me. And lastly, everything here is the catch-all. So I've got, I've got a little jug with a whole bunch of pipe cleaners in there. I've got some old Peterson's boxes from pipes that I bought in Dublin that I just can't bring myself to get rid of. Empty mason jars. I've got my little leather valet tray for rubbing out and drying out my tobaccos, and then 2 cigar boxes stacked on the far right. The one on the top only contains additional pipe stuff. Like I've got, I got matches, I got lighters, I got additional tampers in there. You name it, it's kind of like a catch-all, pipe box. The box on the bottom, that red one, is everything else tobacco related that isn't necessarily pipe related. So there's some cigar stuff. That's where I keep my cutters. I got a torch lighter in there for my cigars. I've got some McChristie's snuff in there as well. If I'm in the mood for a pinch, then I'll have some of that. But yeah, essentially that is the newest addition to the room, and I really appreciate you guys watching. I know that I have been asked about it since I posted my last video, so there it is. Aside from that, in terms of the organization of the pipes, and if certain pipes are dedicated to certain blends, yes. But because all of my Petersons are on this circular rack, it kind of throws off the balance, right? So, for example, this antique Brigham is for Burleys only, whereas this Cobb is for aromatics. This pipe and this pipe and this pipe are for Virginias. this one by Bladder, and then this Medico, those are English ones, English at the bottom, and then I've got aromatics again. So because I took all of my Peterson pipes and decided to organize them by brand and not just kind of organize everything by dedication, it kind of threw the balance off. But end of the day, I know which pipe goes with which blend, so it's easy for me to just reach over and grab whatever. So anyway, I don't want to keep rambling on. It's already been about 10 minutes. Thank you very much for listening to me ramble. And yeah, see you on the next one. Bye.